Manhattan rents reached an all-time high at $4,175 per month as the exodus continues. Can you imagine spending $4,175 per month on just rent? Like, hold on, let's see. So 4,175 times 12 months is $50,100 a year is what you're spending on just rent. That's insane to me. Like, depending on your location in the country or in the world, that could easily be a decent 20% down payment for like a 3 bedroom, 2 bathroom house in most areas. Obviously, not in California or like Miami or whatever kind of stuff like that, but still, like, that's a lot of money to be spending per year. Let's see. The rent is too high, and last month it got even higher. The median rental price in Manhattan has topped $4,150 for the first time in Big Apple history. That says 4,175. Okay, that's interesting. According to a jaw-dropping and bank-busting March market report compiled by real estate brokerage Douglas Elliman and appraiser Miller Samuel. Specifically, the study tallied a median rental price of $4,175 per month, which alone would set city tenants back $50,100 per year. This also means that the average New Yorker would need to earn a salary of at least $160,000 annually to get by, as well as be approved by a landlord with the 40 times rent rule in mind. Dog. Meanwhile, the average rental price hit a comparatively higher and even more gut-wrenching $5,115 per month. Median rent, largely known as a more reliable way of tracking prices, is the midpoint value of total samples. The average is the sum of all rents divided by the number of samples. This all comes nearly a year and a half after city rental prices, which plummeted to record lows in the thick of the COVID-19 pandemic, began to rise in a dizzying manner. At the time of much lower rents, a number of city residents who stayed in town took advantage of moving into much larger units for the same price they had previously paid or for even less. Then, when their leases renewed, beginning in late 2021, they faced massive and often unaffordable price hikes, which forced them to move again. Ooh, crazy. So around that time, the local rental market began its rebound, fueled at the time by locals returning to New York from their pandemic hidey holes, with schools and eventually offices reopening. Several other factors also contributed to the exorbitant rental market, including rising mortgage rates, peak leasing season, and the Housing Stability Tenant Protection Act initiated in 2019, which put into motion new protections against tenant evictions. Last May, Manhattan's median rent figure surpassed $4,000 for the first time. Last July, the average broke $5,000 for the first time ever. By August, the numbers only got higher, creating real headaches for house hunters who faced bidding wars for leases that brought their budgets even higher, if they could even get an apartment to visit at times of low inventory. And last month, for a Manhattan studio, the median rental price was $3,190 per month. And for a 1 bedroom, the median rental hit $4,150 per month. New York City is entering its primary leasing season, so it is reasonable to expect additional upward price pressure before the market seasonally peaks in August. Jonathan Miller of Miller Samuel, who authored the report, told the Post, Brooklyn has slightly better prices with a median rental price of $3,493 per month, and the median in prime Northwest Queens, home to popular Astoria, was $3,300 per month. The report does not include the Bronx or Staten Island in its tallies. These high prices also take into account low demand for mortgages amid ongoing high interest rates, which currently stand at 6.94% for a 30-year fixed rate. This market report comes as it was revealed that more than 10,000 New Yorkers fled the state for Florida so far in 2023, extending an ongoing exodus to the Sunshine State. Additionally, a recent poll found that nearly a third of New Yorkers want to move out due to housing costs and other factors such as crime and poor schools. So let's see some of these comments. And by the way, if you stumble upon this, feel free to give any information about what you pay for rent. I think that'd be pretty interesting to see. But also would you be okay with spending this amount of money per year on rent? So a lot of this has to do with the new rent law that was passed a few years ago, which eliminated a landlord's ability to remove units from regulation and restricting how much they can increase rent after doing improvements, renovations, amongst other things, which has resulted in many landlords just leaving regulated units empty because they don't want to start the clock again with new tenants that might stay for 30 years and or stuck with making renovations that they cannot recover the cost for. Now that is interesting. Let's see. That's a lot of money to pay for living in a city where crime doesn't sleep. See, my thing is, right? If you're someone who's making good money, why would you choose to live in a place where they tax you everywhere? For example, I think if you were to make, as just an example, if you were to make, I think, $1 million in New York City, I think the state taxes will basically cause you to pretty much pay the government almost 130,000 or something, or $140,000 a year just for the privilege of living there. Isn't that kind of crazy when you think about it? It's oh, yeah, the government just deserves to take my money because they allow me to live here. That seems kind of crazy to me. Let's see. Insane, I agree. Yeah, I don't know. To me, I would not want to be spending this type of money on rent. Like, I don't know. I definitely don't like that. That just, this amount of money just seems kind of crazy to me. This is just so much money. And also, this would basically make it to where you might be making 6 figures a year, but you might be living paycheck to paycheck because your rent is just so high. Which is sad. Like, because then you're basically no different than someone who's making 30,000 a year after tax, living paycheck to paycheck.